I'm not just talking about his sensational play. I'm talking about the leadership. And the fact that we know he closes 14-0 in closeout games. Throughout these playoffs, this dude will amp it up. I mean, he got like 2 or 4 points in the first half, and then he's like, okay, calm down. Just give me the ball. I'll handle this. You know, he has that it factor going for him right now. We know what Anthony Edwards brings to the table. We know what Luka can bring to the table. But Kyrie, in assassin's mode, picking his spots the way I've been watching him do this year, particularly in these playoffs. When that brother gets going, it galvanizes the rest of the team in a way that I see positively affecting them, and I think that's going to be needed against that Minnesota defense in order for the Dallas Mavericks to win this series.
Yeah, and I'm kind of like Bob. I don't agree with you all the time, but on that one, I agree with you, man. Kai is so tough. Kai is so tough, and I think a lot of times people don't realize you can have great players or whatnot. Sometimes that can get you to almost like the 15, 10-yard line. Kai's going to pull you over the goal line. The way he's playing not only on the offensive end, but the defensive end, right? When you look at stars, that's what you want to see. You at least want to see them compete on the defensive end, and you just see his leadership and how the younger guys just follow him. And when I'm watching the game and I see that Kai got 4 points, 6 points in the first half, the other team better be up 30. Right. They better be up 40.
Because he's coming.
Because he's definitely going to put his imprint on the game, and he picks his spots, and that's why the marriage between him and Luka has been seamless. They needed last year, but now they know how to pick their spots.
There's no way to disagree with what they're saying about Kyrie and his play this year. There just isn't. But I'm going to pick somebody else. I'm going to go with Luka. And there's some things, it's hard. Luka can be hard to watch because I'm tired of seeing this every trip down the court.
He did a little bit better.
He got for a while. He did for a while. He did for a couple of games.
Help him out a little bit.
But despite that, you know what? When it comes to just running a team and just sheer playmaking, he is, to me, passing the basketball. He is in a discussion now with Magic and Bird. The stuff he has turned 2 players that showed up a minute and a half ago into Lob City.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable how he can just take advantage of a defense and surgically destroy it.
He's so much stronger than people realize.
Oh.
And by the way, Chris, playing through these injuries that he's played through now, and I know you've had to play against him late in the season, but the knees, the back, he's doing things now that other team, and Kyrie mentioned this the other day, he's doing things that teammates look at and say, damn. I mean, he is galvanizing us now. He's rallying us.
I'm gonna get to my answer because I don't want to agree with.
Oh, now the preamble's
I'll
coming?
agree with Chris.
Is that the warning?
People asked me one time, what did you help Steph with? I said the only advice I ever gave him was his body language. That's it. Because early on in his career, he's prone to some crazy turnovers or swings, and he would go like this. And he would put his head down. And I told him one time, I said, you don't know the power of your body language. And he knows this as a player.
Yeah.
And so I watched Kyrie's body language. So good in these playoffs. So good defensively. He's leading that team.
Yep.
Who would have thought Kyrie, I did not think, and this is a credit to him, that he could lead a basketball team. He's the leader of that team. Luka Doncic is their best player right now. And I think he's very important. But the player I'm going to say is Karl Anthony Towns. Because if he's great, I think Edwards is going to show up. Okay, I think Edwards is going to show up, just talent alone, and he has a power and a force about his game that they're going to put some defenders on him. But I'm not sure who can guard him. They're going to probably put Derek Jones on Anthony. It doesn't matter. He's going to attack this team. But Karl Anthony Towns, he plays like he did in Game 7 against Denver. He shows up consistently. He's got to stay out of foul trouble.
Yeah.
He's a real X factor in the series. I know it's a big ask, but I'm saying if he can do it, I think Minnesota has a great chance of winning the series.
Can we talk a little bit about Minnesota and specifically Anthony Edwards? Because one thing that I know I loved, gentlemen, is when in his post-game interview, after they close out the defending champions, he's saying, I want to be the best player on both ends of the floor. He looked at the box score and said, you know what, offensively, I feel like I was trash. But defensively, that's where I want to make my mark. And he called it out. He said, I want Kyrie Irving. What did you think of that?
Yeah, when I was watching the game and I heard his post-game interview, that was the first thing he said. But as a hooper, you're not paying attention to 6 for 24, right? That's what he went in Game 7, right? You're looking at his intensity. Like, I watched the way that he plays both ends of the court. And when this is your best player, everybody else ain't got no choice but to play hard, right? He's picking up Jamal Murray full court, his energy, the shots that he's taking and making and whatnot. That is contagious. So if you see Anthony Edwards out here pressuring at half court, if you're the other guys on the team, you ain't got no choice but to play hard.
Chris, you joined a league that had much more of that, I'm taking that guy no matter what the scouting report said, no matter what the head coach said. You started and played a long time in a league like that. We don't see that much anymore, do we?
Not at all, but that's why I got so much respect for him, right? In the way that he plays. It's hard to do that. It's hard to defend and play offense and be the guy.
Here's what it boils down to, Chris. Again, I love having you on the show. He plays to win.
Yeah.
You know what? Half the game is defense.
Right.
We talk about 30, 40 points. Like, well, why does he play? Because he's trying to win the game. That's why he's doing what he's doing. And when you're trying to win the game and you play basketball and you say, that's our best player, he's playing harder than me.
That's what my favorite play of the season, Bob, is the blocked shot that won the game when he crashes to the floor. I think they have a back-to-back, or they certainly play 48 hours.
It was a back-to-back.
And they didn't, right here in Los Angeles, they didn't want him to play.
Actually, I think it was the first, and then he hurt himself but played the next night in Los Angeles.
And then he said, I'm young, I'm playing.
But it's also because of trust, right? When you got somebody like Mike Conley out there on your team running the team, right? He knows that he's not taking possessions off, but Mike can bring the ball up the court.
He said that the other night, too.
Yeah.
He missed that one game, and Anthony talked about the responsibility of having to do that, too. Mike Conley out there, he doesn't have it.
Well, it's a couple of things. Miracles happen. Number one, I'm agreeing with Bob a little bit.
Yeah.
And you know what? And
yes.
Only issue I got with you today is I want you to fix your tie.
Yeah, I know.
All
right.
Get that right.
Keep talking.
Number two, I got to give my man CP3 some love here. I mean, he could do this job. He's pretty damn good at this, ladies and gentlemen. You're doing well,
I'm going
Chris.
to keep my day job.
You're doing well.
Not ready yet.
But let me tell you this. What I'm most proud of that CP3 just said is that he took no issue with Anthony Edwards talking about, I want those guys. Because, see, I love for the audience to be reminded of basketball. Of course, it's a team sport. Of course, you know, you can't be selfish. You're supposed to be selfless. But if ever there are moments, we're not talking about boxing or something like that, we're doing this in a team sport. There's a sport where within that sport, there are moments where it's about me and you.
Sure.
You know what? And he's like, Kyrie is that dude. Well, guess what? I believe I am. Now, granted, it's a little bravado because you got four brothers backing you up that play defense like a bunch of piranhas from time to time, and that's definitely going to help. But when you sit up there and point the finger at Kyrie Irving, who is a magician, who is sensational, and you know he's coming with a championship on the line, and you like, I got him.
Stephen A., that's why
all of us should be looking forward to that.
That's why I asked Chris about the lack of that in the league.
Right.
Part of what we all fell in love with, and I know you had to growing up watching it, was the greatest player saying, no. I got him.
No.
There's such a lack of that now.
Well, players will never admit it, but certain players bother them when they're guarding him. Right. Certain players bother them. And Edwards did that.
For what it's worth, Kyrie Irving only played in one game against the Minnesota Timberwolves this season. Ant took that primary assignment, and Kyrie had 35. I'm sure that Ant remembers that and wants to improve on it. That series doesn't get underway till tomorrow, but we got the Eastern Conference Finals tonight. We also have NBA Unplugged with Kevin Hart, Joel McHale, DeMarcus Cousins, Lou Will stopping by for the simulcast of Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals. That's on E2 and the ESPN app.
Yeah. You got to give Kevin Hart some love. You see him working out in these videos? I'm like, damn, he brother in shape.
Them fake weights, man. Them fake weights.
They fake weights?
Fake weights.
I know Drew doesn't lift no fake weights. That is a serious competitor right there. More Boston Celtics.